Elvin, owner and founder of Elvin Original, is an artist of many mediums. Educated at University of North Texas with a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree, she not only inspires others, but she's a mentor for anyone pursuing their artistic abilities and furthering their journey as well. Please help me welcome to Melody Roots Podcast Radio, Cheyenne Elvin. First of all, I want to welcome Cheyenne Elvin. And my first question for you is, you're actually going to major in neuroscience. Isn't that a biology? Wouldn't you be a doctor as a neuroscientist? And then you minored in art. How did that all turn around for you?
Hello, yes, again, my name is Cheyenne Elvin. Thank you so much for having me on here. I'm very excited to share my journey as to what led me to be an artist. So starting out, yes, I did go to Baylor University for 2 years. I was a neuroscience major and had an art minor. My second year, I decided to change. I ended up transferring schools and becoming an art major full-time. How that became to be my reality is a conversation I had with my Latin professor. This was my second semester of my first year. Right before that, I had met with my guidance counselor, finalized my schedule for the following year, and really the following 3 years, I knew exactly what I was going to be taking every semester, and I was extremely overwhelmed. I was taking numerous hours, and all of them were going to be very, very challenging classes. The mental side of me was excited about the challenge, but more so I was stressed already, and I hadn't even begun. And so I carried that energy, I believe, into the meeting with my Latin professor, because he immediately picked it up and called me out on it. He asked me what was going on, because that was outside of my normal character. And I explained to him, I gave him my schedule, and he immediately asked me about the art class that was on there. So out of the 8 classes, or however many there were, one of them was art. All of the other ones were medical and science related. So he, asked very straightforward, why is art not your major? And he went on to explain that what he found is numerous students have this passion inside of them, and they make that their minor so that they can still have that in their life, but it's not what they choose to major in. And so he was asking basically the same question to me: is that what you really love doing? Why aren't you doing that for your career? And I didn't really have an answer for that. And I was kind of stumped and was trying to avoid it. So in order to get me to think about it, he had me write down a list of about 6 to 8 questions, and really encouraged me to answer those questions with honesty, with no filters, and with the sole purpose of discovering and bringing to light what was going to make me happy. If the end outcome was to continue to pursue neuroscience, fantastic, at least now I knew. If it wasn't, then I would be forced with making the tough decision of changing. And that scared me. So of course it took me a whole nother year to really finally answer those questions truthfully. And when I finally did, I could only come to the conclusion that art is what I wanted to pursue. So I made the tough decision to transfer to the University of North Texas. That university was referred to me by one of my professors, art professors at Baylor. So I visited the university, talked to the professors, interviewed other students to really get a good idea of what it would be like for me to be a student in that curriculum. And I loved it. I was excited. My parents thought that I was crazy. But in that process, I realized that there were so many conversations that I had had with other people that influenced my decision to pursue neuroscience instead of art. Mainly one with one of my teachers in high school. I, again, was kind of battling the same thing. I had all of these science classes, but managed to work into my schedule taking an art class. And then sometimes I would only go into art, not actually be in the class, but the art teacher would let me come and do art in my lunch break. So I battled with this, and in my conversation with him, he was very blunt and said, you know what, Cheyenne, you are very intelligent, and you will be wasting your mind, you will be wasting your intelligence, and you'll be wasting your potential if you pursue art over something in medicine. And at first in that conversation, I didn't really think much of it. I actually kind of agreed with it. But now it's so not true. And I'm glad that I was strong enough to take the step to pursue art, because I am so incredibly happy that I did. And so that's how I went from being a neuroscience major to pursuing art.
You work with a number of mediums, from acrylics to watercolors to just your traditional drawings. You said you use wood as some of your mediums. What draws you to these mediums, and are you more of a stick to your favorite or kind of artist, or would you rather explore your options and try new things?
So I of course do incorporate the traditional materials such as watercolors, acrylic paints on paper and canvas. That has expanded into using some wood, using some fabrics. Both of those inspirations come from my childhood. So on my mom's side, I had a very creative outlet. We did a lot of coloring, we did a lot of painting, we did a lot of jewelry making and clothes making. So those are the materials that I feel most comfortable with. They're the materials that I have the most experience with, even from a very young age. The wood and the building aspect come from influence on my dad's side. My dad is an accountant, but he enjoys building things as well. So he built my bed, he built my brother's bed, my backyard patio. So I grew up also learning how to use tools, saws, sanders, nail guns, screwdrivers, you name it. I eventually was able to learn how to use welding equipment. So I think I have a good fusion of both of those. And incorporating more of the wood-like materials and non-traditional materials, if you will, that has inspired me to expand myself outside of just one particular lane as an artist. So I don't see myself as being a painter. I don't see myself as being a drawer or just a sculptor. I see myself as being an artist, period. And I will use whatever materials I feel and whatever mediums I feel will best get the message across that I am trying to portray. So if that means that for a brief moment I have to be a photographer and take photographs, that's what I'm going to do. If I want to build something to get the message across, that's what I'm going to do. So I like to see myself as an artist, and I'm going to be whatever artist that requires in order to produce the best piece.